up, Middle Georgia Dog Pound? Welcome to another edition of the Middle Georgia Dog Pound Live. I'm your host, Brian. It's Matt, Kevin. What's up, fellas?
How
How
we
about
doing?
it, buddy? How you doing?
Week one. We are back. Football is back. Woo! Yes, sir. Cannot wait for the week one games, my friends. What is going on with your outfits? What is that?
Going on a little duck hunt, me and Matt.
Duck
Are you
season, baby.
what? You're crazy. Duck season? I think we got a little video about that. Old Harry in there taking down all the ducks today. Good to see you guys. Glad you're all here. For all you new folks joining us tonight on the Middle Georgia Dog Pound, welcome into season. Our first game of the season, week one, game one, the Ducks versus the Dogs. We're going to cover it all in depth. Go over the offense and the defense. We also got our special guest, John Akacki. He's going to be joining us a little bit later here to recount his what he saw from the scrimmage 2 Saturdays ago, and looking forward to talking with him. Before we get into that, though, I want to cover a few housekeeping things if I can. As you guys know, our Middle Georgia Dog Pound email here is below. If you are if you're interested on having a sponsor, be our sponsor and promoting your business or your product or whatever you're doing, shoot me an email at middlegeorgiadogpound@gmail.com. We'll be more than happy to talk to you. Be glad to put your logo on the page and highlight your product or business or item. Additionally, we want to hear your comments. StreamYard has a little bit of an issue with Facebook. If you don't give StreamYard permission to share your face and your name, we'll have no idea who is making the comment on the show. But we'd love to share your comments on the show. So make sure you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook to give StreamYard permission to share your comment. All right, guys. Well, as you know, the last show we had Keith Marshall come on. We had a little bit of technical difficulties. Got some feedback on that, and I got a call from Coach Muschamp, and he was not happy.
Got control. Everybody just do your job. You understand that?
So we're gonna redeem ourselves tonight, guys. We're not gonna have any more technical difficulties. I got my internet issues fixed, so we are rocking and rolling and ready to go. So let's do this thing, man. Let's get John Akacki on here.
Hey,
What's up?
gentlemen, thank you.
How are you doing, sir?
Well, it's a great year, and it's a great year again. We're going to start it all over again, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
It's a
we
good
are.
time to be a dog, a national championship dog.
Matt, Kevin, and Brian, y'all have done a great job, and I see we've broached 500 people that are part of the Dog Pound, and you probably got 20 or 30 on. I don't know how many are on, but the number's growing. I live in Middle Georgia. I work in the courthouse here in Bibb County. I became a dog in 75, played and lettered in 78 and 79, started at left offensive tackle my senior year in 79 and got hurt against South Carolina. And that was the end of it for me. But I'm a loyal dog. And last year I went to the scrimmage before the Clemson game. You just saw a picture over there with Xavier Truss from Rhode Island, and he's 73, and it looks like he's going to start with Tad Rutledge at our guard positions. He is a huge young man, and he put on a lot of weight, but our offensive line is going to be our feature and our mainstay. I tell you what, I went to practice 2 Saturdays ago before before our game here this coming Saturday, and Paul got hurt, and you never knew he was hurt. He walked off the field. He's a running back, and he's a good one. I think he's out of Texas or Florida. I can't remember, but our defensive backs are looking as good as I've ever seen them look. They're so athletic. They're so fast. Kenny McIntosh looked great. Brandon Robinson looks like a stud. He's not as big as all these pictures, dispose him as, but he's a motorboat for sure. The one that stood out the best was Washington, number 0. He caught about 5 or 6 balls in that scrimmage, and they didn't throw to Brock, and they didn't throw to Arik a couple times, but they threw to Washington a bunch. And on one play, we had about 6 or 7 guys try to tackle him, and no one could bring him to the ground. It's just phenomenal how big that guy is. He's 275 pounds. He's about 6'8". But the Dawgs should be ready. And I don't think Kirby has ever lost an opener. I know we were 17-3 since 2000, somewhere around there, the last 20 years. But we should have a great opportunity to show the Ducks who we are. I think it's going to be a physical game. I think they've got great linebackers. They've got one of the top 6 or 8 rosters in America, so it's not going to be a pushover. I'm surprised we're 17-point favorites. I noticed Ohio State and Notre Dame. Ohio State's a 17-point favorite. That's a lot of points to cover, but Brian and Matt and Kevin, they like for me to make a prediction. I think that I obviously believe the Dawgs will win, and I think we'll score 40-41. That might be stretching it, but I think our defense gives up probably 21 points. A lot of new faces. There's going to be some mistakes, some breakdowns, but we should win the game going away probably in the second half. It might even be close in the first half. There's Truss. He's a big dude. And that was a year ago. That was before last season.
Yes, sir.
And Tad Rutledge is back. He got hurt in the Clemson game. He only played about 4 snaps and broke his foot.
Yep.
Tyke Smith was running on the sidelines, as was Milton in that scrimmage 2 weeks ago, but they're ready to play. I don't know what else you'd like for me to say, but I appreciate what y'all are doing. I got a friend here that played ball, Bill Krug. He played against Oregon. Well, with the Dogs played Oregon 45 years ago.
Yep.
And we've got a Dog Pound member, Bill Krug. He played for the Dogs. He played in that game. We beat Oregon then in Athens. They used to come west. So did the Cal Bears and so forth. This is a picture of the team before the national championship. So I missed getting a national championship ring by 1 year. Coach Dooley will be 90 next week. He's having a gathering next Thursday in the stadium in the recruiting room for his players to come celebrate his 90th birthday. But he was up in New York City today. They did, and Josh Brooks, our AD, they were in the New York Stock Exchange, and they rang the bell, the closing bell for the New York Stock Exchange today. And Vince Dooley was up there. He signed the book.
That's cool.
But pretty cool information there. And we just want to keep going, don't we? That's enough. How about a big hair there?
Tell me about
yeah.
Tell me about this one there, John.
Jeff Harper right there. That's Jeff Harper, 76. 29 is Steve Kelly. The guy on the grounds, Ben Fruhoff, Fruhoff Truck Lines, his dad, he never played at Georgia. I was 68 over there. There's a couple guys in there that played for the Dogs. A lot of them didn't. Some of them went home. Marty Ballard right here, 77. He's no longer with us. He's passed on. Trying to think who else is in there. Brunson's in there. But that's a practice. We just were ham and egging it at practice one day. We used to have a AstroTurf field behind there. Now it's indoors, right? And they've got grass, and that's all changed up there. But everybody's going to be watching at 3:30 for sure Saturday. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Hey, John, let me ask you one more question here.
John.
So tell me who your breakout player is that you saw on the field that at the scrimmage. If you saw one player that you thought was going to be the breakout player that nobody knows about, tell me one player that we need to be watching out for this year.
Well, I think, Ringo's going to start at one, and that's not a breakout player. Everybody knows who Ringo is. But the other cornerback is going to be Lassiter. A short story on here. He came from American Christian, which is in walking distance of Bryant-Denny Stadium. And Alabama didn't want him. He's a Georgia guy out of Savannah, but he was going to high school at American Christian in Tuscaloosa, not far from the University of Alabama. I mean, literally in walking distance. And so he's a Georgia Bulldog. He's got a lot to prove. And Kirby has spoken highly of him, and he's a fine young man and a great player. Look for him. I can't remember his number. I've got a roster here, but I think it's Kareem Lassiter. He's a defensive back, and he's going to be pivotal, especially against Tennessee and so forth. I need a light on here, gentlemen. Here it is here. He looks like he's number 3. So look for him. Look for Washington. I think they're going to utilize our tight ends so much that guys like McConkey.
Yeah. Yep.
McConkey looked great in the scrimmage. Oh, he looked fantastic. Washington looked really good. And then on defense, I don't know. It's hard to watch defense when you're watching offensive guys. You just either watch one or the other. But I always like to watch where the ball's going. And I think Brandon Robinson's going to be big this year. The new kid out of Mississippi, the running back. I think he's going to have to be big.
Yeah.
So,
well, John, we sure do appreciate you coming on and sharing your expertise. I know that you get to see a lot of the dogs, and you've seen a lot of the dogs over the years. So tell me how this team compares to the 2021 team. What's your feelings on that?
Well, they're younger. They're less experienced. There's a lot to prove. They're high-level athletes. So they're going to be as good as what we had. You can count on that. They are as good as what we had, but they have to make their name now. It's their time. They're no longer a Trayvon Walker or a Jordan Davis there. Somebody else is going to be that, whether it's Logue or this Williams kid or Beal or Nolan Smith or Bear Alexander. Those are the next guys, but they're good. We got a great roster, a fine roster, a better roster than Ohio State. So
I love it.
We compete at the level of Alabama, and that's them and us, and we'll see who finishes.
I love it, buddy. Thank you so much for coming on. Hey, if you'll hang on,
yes,
we'll
I will.
Bring you on back on at the end of the end of the show to go over our highlight games, and you can give us your predictions on those. John Akacki, y'all. How about that guy? He's one of a kind, man.
Always
I
fun
love
to have
talking.
him on.
God, I love having him on. He's so much fun to listen to. I could sit here and talk to him all day long. Well, let's get into it, guys. It's that time. We got to roll that hype video. Let's do it.
1 month away from kickoff and only 1 day away from the start of Georgia practices. Right. So, I couldn't be more excited.
The preseason rankings are interesting, right? Because nobody's played anything. A lot of them are based on last season.
The schedule says the season starts September 3rd, but really the season begins when the preparations begin. And for Georgia, a lot of that's been underway now for many months, but certainly officially no turning back now.
Georgia is now an annual championship contender. And the way that you get there and the way that you stay there is to maintain those standards. You got to take Oregon serious when it comes to the lines of scrimmage.
We're really starting to feel that little football itch in the air. I know it doesn't feel like fall whatsoever, but we're all counting down as we've been for a while.
I feel like, this is probably the time of year when you start to get a little antsy because you don't have to look very far to see plenty of evidence that football season is officially here.
Well, that is not our typical hype video that we are used to, man. A little bit different when the Georgia rolled out this time. So it definitely caught me by surprise. There was not the big pump up and the big lead up to the game. So Yeah, definitely interesting transition there with our pregame trailer there. But let's get into this thing, guys. Let's talk about this Oregon team and what they're going to do. Matt, you want to start us off with the offense and get us going on what we need to expect?
Let's do this.
Let's do it, man.
So, for all those, just a precursor for it as we look through the offense piece here. Some of this it's kind of hard to look at what we're going to see with their offense because it's a different offensive coordinator. So, but you can look at some of the things that we can see from Florida State's, last year. A lot of the play action, a lot of rollouts and stuff like that we're going to see. And so with that, it's kind of thinking it's a lot of the same kind of offense that we play a little bit. So it should be something that our defense should be ready and prepared for. So with that piece, I did try to do some research, and I was like, hey, I'm going to go watch the spring game. I'm not even joking. First started watching the spring game, I had to put sunglasses on because all the highlighters run around the field. And then at that point, I eventually had to turn it off. I couldn't watch it in the dark. I mean, it was glowing. It was my pupils were burning. So I had to just watch snippets of it because it was so terrible. But so there's some key factors we're going to look at. Let's start with the quarterbacks. We get this, they got the Bo Nix that came in from Auburn. So I think the overall consensus is that he's going to be the starter. They said they haven't announced the starter yet. Honestly, Oregon, their fan base is split down the middle. Honestly, because we got Ty Thompson here, which honestly is their highest rated quarterback in their program history. So a lot of them, want to see what he can do. And we got the other end of the people who've seen what Bo Nix can do. They know he's dependable, and so they also want that experience in the field. Because ultimately, I think last year Ty Thompson only threw had 8 completions the entire year. He didn't play that often because the senior quarterback they had played a lot. And so between these two guys, I think we're going to get Bo Nix, and we will say, we beat Bo Nix several times. But if you look at Bo Nix's record over the last 3 years of playing, he has gotten better statistically every year while he was at Auburn. And he would probably throw over 3,000 yards last year if he didn't get hurt at the very end of the year. So he's getting better. So we don't need to sleep on Bo Nix. Maybe him getting a more condensed offense, not so much something different, run around backyard ball, which is where he tends to thrive sometimes, but also shows his bonehead abilities. So I think ultimately it'll be Bo Nix starting, but these are the two quarterbacks we may see both of them for all we know. Going into running back, they got this guy named Cardwell. This guy really reminds me and I got these two guys up here. So you'll see Cardwell here, and you also see familiar face there is Jordan James. For y'all who keep up recruiting, Jordan James first committed to Georgia and decommitted and followed landing to Oregon. I'm not sure how much of James we will see throughout this game, but I do know we'll see a lot of Cardwell. This guy kind of reminds me of, he's kind of built like Edwards, but kind of has that ability. It kind of reminds me of his playing style of DeAndre Swift. Not as dynamic as Swift, but has a lot of those. He did his time, waited out. He went through all those starters last year, and now it's his time to shine. So we're going to see a good dose of him throughout this game, not only in the run game but in the pass game as well. So just be aware of that and watch his number. Getting the wide receivers, they are really high on these wide receivers they have. Even their tight ends they have. They love these guys. And here's one of them right here. It's Chris Hudson. They're really high on this guy. Him, and I got 3 other ones as well, is Franklin, Thornton, and McGee. They love McGee himself. They think he's a speedster. He was a converted running back. Now he's playing wide receiver. He had a lot of flashes in the spring game as well. He's almost like a Nicole Hardman kind of player. A lot of speed, a lot of agility. Still working on his hands and his route running. So it's going to put some pressure on those safeties back there. But these are their main guys. And so a lot of these guys are 6'3" plus, which think, oh my gosh, there's a lot of height back there for us. But one thing we need to look at is that none of these guys that they are returning had more than 300 yards receiving last year. Their big receiver that they had, their top 3-4 receivers are all gone. These guys are the guys the next step up. they got some experience, but not a whole lot of catches, a whole lot of yards. So them having what they're going to do with productivity is going to be interesting. How the quarterback is going to mature with them is going to be really interesting to see this season for them. But for us, how much dysfunction are we going to see with route running and knowing the plays and changing at the line? How much chaos can we produce as a defense on those inexperiences? Because quarterbacks, when times come to timing, really has to be on point. They need to know how fast these guys run. Each guy runs a certain speed. How far out you got to play the ball. That stuff comes with time. So they have spring together, but sometimes that's not enough. As we get into their tight end, they have a tight end they really like a lot as well. His name is Ferguson. They love tight ends out there. They think their tight ends are great. They got like 4. They think they're tremendous. But these guys are nowhere the caliber of ours. They got maybe the same size, but they are not the caliber that we have. So wide receivers, quarterbacks, running backs. So far, apples to apples with the Georgia offense and their offense, we are above and beyond. So our defense should have comparable numbers and way that they practice to see what kind of speed that they're going to have. As it rolls to their offensive line. Now, this is the meat and the potatoes of what they love about their offense the most. They're returning all their starters. These are the projected starters I have. I think they got one spot that they weren't sure on, but both guys that they're changing out. They're not sure who it's going to be, but these are the starters that I think they're projected we should see on Saturday. They're big. I'm not going to lie. These guys are almost like mirror images of what we have. They're all 6'5" plus. They're all 300 pounds plus. They're very big and very experienced offensive line. So our defensive line and linebackers are going to have, maybe in the first half, going to have some time and some trouble getting through those lines and seeing really how much pressure we can put on that quarterback. So you keep saying, why can't we get through? Why can't we get pressure on the quarterback maybe early on? Be patient because you are dealing with an experienced line. But I will say on the other end of that, we heard the same thing about Michigan's offensive line too last year when we were going to the Orange Bowl, how they were the best offensive line in college football, and look how we destroyed them. Because it's the difference between playing Pac-10, Pac-12, whatever you call flag football they play out there versus SEC ball. So we'll really see how they do, how they can accommodate the pressure they're going to receive from the Dogs.
Absolutely. I'm interested to hear your opinion of Kenny Dillingham. Now, Kenny was the offensive coordinator at Auburn when Bo Nix was there, and then I guess he went to Memphis or UCF or somewhere after that. But Kenny Dillingham, as far as I know, he's never called a game. He's never called a single play in a single game. He's been the offensive coordinator, but the head coaches for the teams that he was the offensive coordinator for, the head coaches called all the plays. How is that familiarity with Kenny Dillingham and Bo Nix? How is that going to translate to the field?
I mean, that's all the time will tell, honestly, right? I mean, we hope that in these meetings, the times they've had together, maybe they'll come up with some kind of plan and some kind of coding and signing to get that stuff down on track. But I mean, that will tell on Saturday. We'll see how many delay of games we get from them because they can't change the play at the line. They can't get things rolled out that in time. So we'll see. That's going to be good. I mean, we'll see what kind of coaches. Is he going to be one of those coaches that's up in the box, or is he going to be one of those coaches that's down the field? I mean, that's things I'm not a huge familiar of what his style is. That's a good point.
How many quarterback runs do we see out of Bo Nix?
You mean running for his life or design runs?
Design runs is what I was saying. Yeah, how many design runs?
We're probably going to see at least 7 to 10, probably, in my opinion. Because I mean, he has that ability. We're going to see a lot of maybe second and shorts, just to make sure they can get those first downs. I think we'll see a lot of that stuff happening.
Yeah, I agree. I heard a podcast today say, I think it was Rusty Manziel, for any of you guys that follow Rusty. He said that that Auburn had Bo Nix clocked on the GPS at 22 miles per hour, and that's faster than anybody we got on the team. So that's smoking. So I hope that we don't have to see him break out in the open field and we can keep him contained.
Not sure I believe that 100%, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's fast. That's fast.
It's not like we don't know what Bo Nix is. We got to get Bo Nix on his running outside on his left side where he can't throw passes. When he throws on the left side, he's going to throw interceptions. So that's our goal. Put him on the outside on his left side, let him make off center throws, and we'll intercept him.
Totally agree. Well, let's get into this. Let's get into the Oregon defense. What you say, guys? What you say?
All right.
All right. I got to put myself back on the screen here. That might be helpful. Here we go. The challenges of producing and doing a show at the same time. So, Oregon defense. So you guys know, we know what we're going to be dealing with Dan Lanning, right? So Dan's going to come out. He's going to want to put pressure on the quarterback because that's what he likes to do, and he's going to run some stunts to be able to do that. These are the guys you're going to see. Noah Sewell and Justin Flo. Georgia went after both of these guys extremely hard to recruit in our recruiting class. I think it was the 2020 and the 2021 classes. I think Noah Sewell was 2020. Justin Flo was 2021. Noah Sewell had a fantastic year. Got some highlights I wanted to show you if I can get them to come up on the screen here and play for me. Play, please. Okay, well, maybe it's not going to play. Oh, there she goes. So this was against Ohio State. He is explosive to the ball. He is 6'2", 260 pounds. He runs a 4.5 40. That's Devontae Wyatt and Jordan Davis speed. The thing I've read about him is that he is not, or at least last year, he was not in shape. And by the third quarter, he was gassed. But he goes all out every play. He gives everything he's got. And I honestly believe Dan Lanning is going to get the conditioning piece fixed with him. So we have got to account for him. He is going to be a menace to us. I guarantee you. He's disciplined. And you'll see him hang back and, attack when the time is perfect. And I think this is the play that I wanted to point out. Here it is right here. So here he is hanging back, realizes the quarterback's got nowhere to go. And it's me and him, and I'm going to make that open field tackle. That's the kind of stuff that we can't allow to happen on Saturday. So, but rest assured, I guarantee you that Todd Monk has got something lined up for him. So the other linebacker that you're going to see is probably play some star for him too as well, but you'll see him in. His name is Mace Funa. I think he played for Justin Flo when Justin Flo broke his foot last year, and so you will see him a lot in the game as well. Then, so these are the defensive backs that I wanted to highlight. You're going to see these two guys' names called a lot. So this Christian Gonzalez, he's a transfer from Colorado. Obviously, there's not a lot of tape on him to see what he does, but I will tell you he had 42 solo tacks last year, and I don't care what league you play in. That's a lot of tackles. He had 42 solo tackles by himself. That just speaks volumes to me that he is paying attention to where the ball is, and he is not he's not missing anything that's happening in the game. And then the other defensive back there, Dante Manning, he was there last year, so you're going to see a lot of him as well. This gentleman right here, Jamal Hill, he'll also play star, 6 foot, even 211 pounds. He's from Georgia, and he is explosive, and he will make you hurt if you aren't paying attention. So watch for his name to be called a good bit as well. And then your two safeties, Steve Stevens Jr. out of Fresno, California, and Brian Addison out of Gardena, California. Both of those guys are returning. and they've got plenty of experience on the defensive side of the ball. So you guys know that Dan Lanning likes to play a lot of man coverage. I don't expect to see that happen. If you watched any of the spring game, you saw receivers that were just running wide open down the field, and those were the ones against the ones. So if their first string receivers are running wide open against their first string DBs, imagine what Georgia's receivers are going to do to them. So I'm pretty confident that we're going to be successful moving the football on the offensive side. All right. Georgia's offense. Everybody knows Georgia's offense. We got our man Stet, the mailman, coming back. I don't understand what why he gets so much hate, but pulled a few stats for you guys because I know that there's some folks on here that love some stats, but I just realized I got a few comments and I'm not covering them, so I am going to hit some of those. So Bill Krug says Oregon will play fast, lots of no huddle. Their offensive coordinator was Nick's offensive coordinator his freshman year at Auburn. Plus, he used no huddle his next 2 years as well. Yeah, I heard they're going to go fast too. Thank you for pointing that out, Bill. Ken Lalonde says, since Jordan Davis left, how much less does our D-line weigh? How will we be versus the run? Zion Logue is just as good, and Jalen Carter is just as good, and we're going to get into that. And Kevin's going to hit on our defensive line here just shortly. So we'll make sure we cover that. Hey, send us your comments, your questions. We'll be glad to cover them. Appreciate everybody that's been on here so far. But Stetson Bennett, he was ranked 4th nationally for passing efficiency. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty happy with all the teams in the United States that play college football. I'm pretty happy to have a quarterback that's ranked 4th nationally. I don't know about you guys. He's 4th for yards per completion at 15.47, 3rd for yards per pass attempt at 9.97. He passed for 2,862 passing yards, 29 tutties, and he was the 5th leading rusher last year at 200 for the team at 259 yards. And then he was 3rd in the nation for throws over 25 yards. So to me, to have somebody coming back that Zeus White, Broderick Jones, and Curious Jackson goes up to as soon as Keely Ringo gets the pick 6 in the natty, and those 3 guys go up and said from nothing to something, that means something. You've won over the locker room, in my opinion, and this guy's the leader of the team, and you better be ready. And he's going to show out this year. I got no doubts. In my opinion, he's probably going to be one of the top quarterbacks in the SEC, if not number 1. All right, come on, slideshow. Here we go. So here's our offensive line. This is what I'm projecting is going to be our offensive line. If anybody's got any comments, any thoughts on the offensive line, jump in. But I believe it's Cedric Van Pran. He's going to be our center. We got Xavier Truss is going to be our left guard. And then Warren Erickson's going to be I can't remember where I had. I think I have him wrote down, but I had Broderick Jones as the left tackle, and then Warren McClendon and Warren Erickson. So McClendon's going to be a tackle, and Erickson's going to be a guard, right guard. So I believe this is going to be our starting line, and believe that we are not going to see Tate Ratledge in this game. I think that they're going to hold him out. We're definitely going to need him later in the season because he's that good that we're going to need him against some more experienced opponents throughout the season. So our John Akacki was covered the tight ends. I think he's got a little love affection and a little bromance going on with our tight ends, as we all do. Darnell Washington there, big 0. He's listed as 6'7" here. I've heard it's 6'8" in some venues. They say 6'8", but that's a big beast of a dude, man. And was listening to a podcast earlier today with Brooks Austin. He's editor for Sports Illustrated, and he says people ask me all the time how many more catches are we going to get? Is Darnell Washington going to get this year? We need to get Darnell Washington the ball more. And he says, I'm telling you right now, NFL scouts don't care about that. What they care about is this guy putting his hand in the dirt and being a road grader for screen passes. They want to see him road grade some safeties when they threw the screen pass underneath and him take people out so we can move the ball downfield. They don't give a crap about how many passes he catch. Now, yeah, we'll use him in the red zone. And that's where we need to use him because ain't nobody going to catch the ball over him. Just throw it up and high point it to him in the middle, right? But getting him a ton of passes is not going to be our objective this year, like it would be for Brock Bowers or Eric Gilbert. But I wanted to bring if you guys have not paid attention to Oscar Delp, this kid right here is going to be amazing. He has got all the abilities of Brock Bowers. And if you didn't see him in the spring game, I thought Brock Bowers was out there with the number 4 jersey on, to be completely frank with you. That's how good this kid is. He bowled over, I don't know how many defenders trying to tackle him. It had to have been 4 or 5, and two different times he caught the ball. So be looking out for Oscar Delp to get some playing time this year. Then, of course, Eric Gilbert. Can't say more about this kid. He's battled back from some personal issues and health issues. And one thing I can say about this kid is he is a hard worker. He made I think it had 2 times he was the student athlete of the month for UGA with the highest GPA last year. So kudos to him for being back. And this kid finds the ball. Let me tell you, wherever it's thrown, he's going to get it. Just rest assured it's going to get caught. Let's see what Bill Krug has to say. Stet is best when we are able to run well. It opens up his strength of play action pass. He can pull it down and run if the D has everyone covered, and that makes him and us dangerous. I totally agree. And then Bill Krug says, Delp is a carbon copy of Bowers. I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. All right, so our running backs, you guys know them. The press likes to throw out that we don't have a lot of starters returning, but you guys know these kids right here played a lot of ball last year, so they might as well be starters. Kenny McIntosh is going to be our premier back. He returned a lot of punt returns for us last year. Kickoffs, you will not see him doing that this year. He is running back 1, and we will not have him out there doing that. Kendall Milton, I'm not sold on Kendall Milton yet. He's got all of the measurables, all of the ability, but the kid cannot stay healthy. If he is not healthy for more than 2 games, you better just go ahead and count your bottom dollar that Branson Robbins is going to step in to running back 3, and Dejon Edwards is going to be number 2. And Dejon Edwards may be number 2 anyway. That kid's going to show out and show us what he can do. I think he had some of the most rushing yards last year per game than any of our running backs, simply because he's in there in garbage time and we're just handing the ball, and he's bulldozing everybody. So get ready for some Dejon Edwards. And you know what? I am super happy this kid can catch a pass. He can catch. Y'all, if you didn't see him in the spring game, he was catching passes. I was like, where did this guy come from? So super excited about Dejon Edwards. Of course, he's from Middle Georgia, right down the road. We're going to be pulling for him hard. A.D. Mitchell. A.D. Mitchell is going to be the guy. And let me play you a video of why I believe A.D. Mitchell is going to be our number 1 receiver.
You and eventually have to ride. What's the first thing that pops in your mind when you think of Stetson?
The first thing that pops in my mind?
Yeah, just the first thing when you're thinking of Stetson, what's the first thing that pops in your mind about him? His personality or
that's my dog. Like that's my guy right there. I'd say that's the first thing that pops up.
Where did you guys go on this road trip?
We went and did a signing together.
Oh, you did?
If he's your guy, if your quarterback is your guy, and you're the quarterbacks guy, guess where the ball's going? A.D. Mitchell. So y'all get ready. It's going to be a big season for A.D. Mitchell, guarantee you. And then on the other side, you're going to have Ladd McConkey, and this is another reason why I think Ladd McConkey is going to have a big.
You and Ladd are on the field obviously a lot at the same time. What's the chemistry like with you guys during
That's
the
my
game?
dog. Mick Donkey. That's what we call him.
Donkey. Now you got to explain that one. Now,
Oh, Mick Donkey is like McConkey. We just place the C with the D. You know what I'm saying? But Ladd is, like I said, everybody in the room has been getting better every day, and it's like, Ladd was already a great player, and you put the hard work behind that and the dedication behind it, and good things happen.
How much more comfortable do
I totally agree with Ken Lalonde. AD is the George Pickens if he stays healthy. I totally agree with that. But when you have players that are giving each other nicknames, that's an endearing comment. That's an endearing effect, and it shows you that they are out there proving themselves. Because you ain't giving somebody a good nickname if they're not on the field doing what they need to do. So, looking forward to seeing what our receivers are going to do this year. Before I jump into defense, I skipped a video that I wanted to show you guys, and I want to make sure that I preface it by saying, when you are sitting here wondering why we're doing what we're doing, I want you to, when the offense is out there and we're throwing the ball, or our offense is out there and we're running the ball, I want you to think back to this video of Todd Monken. It has nothing to do with Kirby Smart. This is Todd Monken telling you why he's doing what he does.
It's fair in the fact that I do like to throw it. I think people think that I don't like to throw it. And I'm paid to score. I'm not paid to win. I'm paid to add as part of that, but to score. But I'm also paid to be responsible to winning. And so there's a big part of that where they think that Kirby dictates what we do on offense. No, he dictates that we be smart. He dictates that we be explosive and that we utilize our personnel and do everything in our power to win games for the University of Georgia. And that's what we should be doing. And believe me, when I'm thinking game plan wise, I'm thinking about how we can be explosive and yet how we can run the ball to help us be explosive. It all fits together. And you can't control the game if you can't run the ball comfortably. You can't. You cannot control the game. You can have a bunch of statistics that make it look better, make you feel better. But if you can't run the ball comfortably, you can't win the game. And that's from a guy who likes to throw it. And my whole background's wideouts and quarterbacks. So I do want to throw it. I enjoy throwing it. 2 years ago against Mississippi State here, we couldn't run it. We didn't run it very good at all. That was on me. We threw for 400 yards, thank God, and we won the game. Cincinnati, we turned it over a bunch and didn't run it nearly as well. Well, luckily we could throw it. I think the biggest thing is, are you able to, when you're not having success at one or the other, you're not just one-dimensional. You're not just a running team where, okay, we get behind, we're having trouble throwing it, or we're a passing team, then when we have to run it, we can't. But it's out there. It's part of it. It's unfair because you have to do whatever you need to do to win the game, and that's be explosive and not turn it over.
So you guys, I know there was another part of that interview where he said, hey, we backed it down several times during the game because we didn't need to score points. We had the defense, we had the game in hand, and we just, salted it away by running the clock out with Dejon Edwards. You're not going to see that this year, guys. I think you're going to see full throttle. Maybe not against Oregon, and some of these cupcake teams that we play, but you're going to see full throttle. They're not going to back it down. Can't afford to. I think it hurt us in the SEC championship because we needed to score points, and we weren't able to do that because we hadn't done it all season. So that's my point for the offense. And for what it's worth, you guys are going to see an explosive offense this year, one that we haven't seen in very, very long time with the University of Georgia. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Kevin. Kevin, take it away, my friend.
That's a lot to follow up to, brother. You have covered a lot of ground there on the offense for sure. This year, everybody knows we lost a plethora of defensive players to the NFL, and it has been word widespread that we are going to be hurting on our defensive side of the ball. And I think all three of us have talked about this, and we cannot disagree more with that statement. Because you have players that have played in countless games at the end of the game. You know, whether it be mop up or whatever you want to call it, they have played and they have playing time. So it's not like these guys are coming in without experience, without playing time, without seeing that game time experience. You know, we have concerns about our defensive line. Well, Kirby rotated defensive linemen in and out like they were going out of style last year, and everybody saw that. You know, and you have players coming in, and you cannot discount the experience they have from, Nazir Stackhouse. You got Jalen Carter, who is arguably, even with Devontae White and Jordan Davis leaving, he was arguably just as good, if not better, of a defensive lineman as those two guys, and they went in the first round of the NFL draft, and his experience is immeasurable. You got these young guys, and also you got Zion Logue coming back, Warren Brinson, and then you got Big Bear Alexander. Are we not excited about what this guy can do? But anyway, I digress. We get to the downfield side. I wanted to point out our top guy on the defensive side. Everybody knows him. Everybody knows that name and will forever live in Georgia lore. Keely Ringo. And I don't know if anybody knew this, but last year he was a redshirt freshman. It was his second year at UGA, but he experienced an injury the year before and he didn't play at all. So this is his redshirt sophomore year, and the experience on that side of the ball is going to be huge to come in and share his experience to these young guys coming in. And I think that, our concern was that we were going to be short on our corners, and I think I don't think that that's going to be the case. I think that his experience is going to be shared with these guys, and I'm trying to find who is going to be there beside him. I think John Akacki touched on that a little bit. I can't find it now.
Lassiter.
Yeah, Kamari Lassiter. Thank you, Matt. His name escaped my mind, but it is word that he is going to have that starting role on the other side of the field, and I think that Keely Ringo's experience is going to be great on that. And also with our fifth-year senior, Chris Smith, you cannot discount him in any shape, form, or fashion, because he's going to be back there to be kind of like the QB of the backfield. I think that he's going to make sure that these guys stay their lanes and know their position, know their roles. Last year, he had his career stats are 42 tackles, 30 assists, and 3 interceptions. And we all know the best of those interceptions was the start of the season last year in the Clemson game, which opened the season up to the pick six. And then Keely Ringo ended the season with a pick six. So moving on to our linebacker core, I think I got this backwards when I gave it to you, Brian. I wanted to focus on Nolan Smith first, but we'll go to Jamon Dumas Johnson. This guy right here, and I think I gave you video of this guy. He has been in the backfield. Nobody has been really paying attention to this guy right here. This kid, like Brian was saying, when somebody gives you a nickname, it means something. And they've nicknamed this guy Pop. And not really sure what the reason for that nickname is, but you can only imagine somebody giving you the nickname Pop. It can only mean good things. He's going to bring the hammer, I believe. Brian, if you will roll that.
Georgia team. Got pick six written all over it. Room service again. Touchdown. Bulldogs. Dumas Johnson with the pick. Dumas says, you know what, I'm just going to do me right here. It's all red flag.
Then you're telling me that team is in that class. Second and seven. And taken down is Cook. As he is sacked again. And this time it is Dumas Johnson with the tackle of Cook.
Great job there. On the trigger there by Johnson. You see him at the second level. He's just going to fire through. As soon as Cook starts to move, he goes. Little green dog pressure there.
In this 2021 season.
Goes down. A low snap to throw the timing of that play off from the very start. Dumas Johnson comes through to get the sack.
Dumas Johnson coming right off the edge. This is really good reaction by him. You're going to see Yates just bobble the snap just a little bit. Runs through the back and then makes sure that he.
Yeah, those are just a couple of highlights where JDJ or Pop has played, and whether y'all knew it or not, this kid played in all 14 games except for the national championship game. So this guy is not coming in inexperienced. He had 22 tackles, 13 assists, 1 interception, and 2 sacks and 1 touchdown that you saw there. So this is going to be the guy to watch at the inside linebacker position. I think this is the guy that's going to take over for Nakobe Dean. I know Matt has expressed concerns at the inside linebacker position that we need experience there, and I think this is the guy to do it. He's not going to come inexperienced. I think this is where you fill that role there, Matt. Also, moving on to our other experienced linebacker role is Nolan Smith. He's coming in as a senior. He's out of Savannah, Georgia, and this kid is amazing. You talking about taking on that leadership role that Nakobe Dean left. I don't think this guy has missed the mark as far as the leadership. I think he's got these guys. He's taking them under their wing, and you can tell it by the way he talks in his interviews. This guy is for real. He lives, breathes, and sleeps Georgia football. Brian, roll that footage.
Man, he brings a lot of things for me as far as being my friend. You know, it's like being a having situation and being beefy, and you know, I love working day in and day out. And I think you know, he brings a lot to my game as far as he pushed me to be better. And we just push each other day in and day out to compete, and also even with Warren McClendon and Roger, I tackle. We try to tell him, let's go today, let's get it done.
What do you expect from these groups?
I play defense. I'm not expecting anything. I'm expecting that we show connection. One, the game is the game to have fun. It's nothing to show me. You know, I'm just a player, and I just want to have fun with my guys. 11 guys, same call. 11 has football, us flying and connection. That's the only thing that I think that's true.
Y'all motivated with all the guys and people expecting the defense to drop off a bit. I'm sure you guys don't see it that way.
No, I mean, you can look at it. I've been a Georgia fan all my life, and that's one thing that's been great around here is Georgia defense. So I'm 100% not worried about a drop-off. Again, like Coach Smart said, it's a standard. Just because we had a lot of guys leave last year, it's a standard of Georgia defense, and we play at a high level.
What's the difference?
Will the defense look any different to most people since you obviously lost so many players?
Different numbers. different numbers. Different people in different spots with different numbers. That's all I'm gonna say.
Plug and play, basically.
Like I said, Georgia's defense, it's been, since I was a little boy watching Jarvis Jones playing, it's always been like a high level which Georgia defense play. People came to see Georgia defense, offense sell tickets, defense win games, and that's the ultimate reason why I came here. I want to play for a great defense that was known all over.
And if that don't fire you up, your wood's wet, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's freaking awesome. That Joker, I don't know. I got chills just listening to him, man. He's definitely taken over that role that Nakobe Dean left for him. It's like I don't know. He just come out and it's his time to shine in that linebacker role, man. It's gonna be awesome. This guy right here, everybody knows him, but watch for him. He is named to the preseason All-American, All-SEC list. He's named to the nation's top defender trophy, the Outland Trophy, nation's top interior lineman, the Bronco Nagurski Trophy, nation's top defender watch list. This guy is on everybody's radar. I think the things that you saw from him last year was only just the tip of the iceberg. I think that you're going to see this guy explode, and I think you're going to see him be probably the nation's top defensive player in the country, just because he's got that drive, he's got that want to. He was kind of overshadowed by Devontae Wyatt and Jordan Davis last year. But this guy's probably going to shine, and it's probably going to be I'm predicting him to be the leading sack rusher on Georgia's defense this year.
Good deal, man. Hey, thanks for going through the defense there. I know we just touched on some high-level stuff there on the defense, but rest assured, Zion Logue and Michael Williams is coming in as a freshman. They're gonna plug and play, man. I promise you. I'm gonna see those names called a whole heck of a lot. So, Matt, you got any thoughts before we move this thing forward?
And don't forget about him. Don't forget about Jalen Carter playing on offense too. That Joker, anytime goal line, he is on that. He's that fullback. He blocks 3 guys at a time. I think his freshman year, he caught a touchdown pass coming out of the backfield. That Joker is a team player. That's what I love to see. Doesn't care. He's like, Coach, put me in. I just want to bust some skulls, and I love it.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I wanted to point out a breakout player. I know I asked John Akacki this earlier, but I'm going to tell you this is going to be my breakout player and give you a reason why. It is Terrence Edwards. He posted this on Twitter, and I pulled it, and I said, okay, I'm going to hold on to that. Because he predicted on A.D. Mitchell last year, and he is predicting that Dylan Bell is going to be the breakout player, and I'm going to stick with Mr. Edwards because obviously he knows what he's doing. But Dylan Bell, 6'1", 214 pounds. He's built like a running back, but he has been developed as a receiver. He is going to be electric. So you guys watch for that name. All right, guys, it's that time. We are running so long, and we're here for the Week 1 matchups, and let's get into it. So Ohio State is playing the Notre Dame Midgets. I'm just joking. All right, what you got, Kevin? Who you taking?
I'm gonna take Ohio State on this one. As much as I don't like them, Notre Dame is just coming in with a first-year head coach, and I just don't think they got anything for Ohio State this year.
Matt?
So I want everybody to think back. They can remember the movie Dark Knight Rises, and where Bane comes on the field doing his whole monologue, and then puts a bomb that explodes and the bottom of the field starts decaying and the person caving in the ground is a big pit hole. I hope this can happen during this game because I really can't stand either one of these teams. I hope they fall into a big sinkhole in the middle of the game and it calls a draw and we're done with it. But ultimately, I think Ohio State will win. They got the big hype right now. Notre Dame is not as good as everyone thinks they are every year. I just don't think they have it, and so I'm going to go Ohio State.
Cool. Mr. Akacki, what you got there, sir?
Well, if you remember, Ohio State was left out of the dance and Michigan got in. So that's the first strike that they want to make up for. And last year they got beat by Oregon in the big house in Columbus, too, if you remember that one. I think they're going to run up the score on Notre Dame. I think it's going to be 45 or 50 points. Notre Dame barely gets to 21 or 24.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm taking Ohio State as well. The Vegas has them as a 17-point favorite. They easily cover. Totally agree. All
Hunter
right.
Ivy says Ohio State by 21.
Who said that?
Hunter Ivy.
I agree with him.
Yeah, I agree too. Hey, send us your predictions, guys. We'll throw them up on the screen here. All right, here we are, Cincinnati and Arkansas. Kevin, what you think?
Well, I am going with the Razorbacks on this one. I don't think Cincinnati is going to be nowhere near what they have been in the past couple of years. I think they're going to hit a lull. I think Cincinnati is probably going to have 3 or 4 losses this year, and this is only going to start that drive toward those losses. I've got Razorbacks by 14.
Yeah.
I'd say the Razorbacks. I think Sam Pittman country in Fayetteville, they're playing it there. I don't see any way the Razorbacks get beat. They're on their way. I say they go 38-10.
I like that. Matt?
I 100% agree with both of them. I don't have to do anything. I think it's the same thing. I think what Kevin said is dead on.
Yep. So I'm going with the Razorbacks too. Looks like Dad is going Arkansas by 17. Looks like Vegas had them by 6.5, and I think that that Arkansas will easily cover that. Cincinnati's definitely in a rebuilding year. So yeah, I agree. All right, Utah Utes and the Florida Gators. Kevin, what's your thoughts?
No, don't make me do this one first. This is Matt's game. Let Matt go first.
Go, Matt. Take it.
I picked this game when we first talked about, we discussed the show, and everyone was like, what? The Gators are going to beat Utah. And then everybody starts seeing these polls come out and see how highly ranked Utah is. And, I mean, yes, they play in a flag football league out there on the West Coast, but Florida's not that good. And I think the Utes have a solid team. They national championship worthy? I don't think so. But I do think that they'll go into Gainesville in the nastiest stadium in the entire country, and they will beat Florida, and it will be embarrassing for them, and I will smile my way to the bedroom tonight. That's all that. So that's just, I'm not sure how bad it's going to be, but I think they're going to beat them. It may be close to the first half, but I think the Utes, the Mormons take care of them on the back end.
Yeah, I like that prediction. John, what you think, buddy?
Well, if you remember, Utah destroyed Oregon twice last year. Extremely physical team. And that's why Oregon couldn't compete. So that's probably a prelude to what happens in the Mercedes Domes with Oregon against the Dawgs. I don't think the Gators are ready yet to play a team like Utah. I think Utah wins probably 35-17.
I like that. Kevin?
Yeah, I'm in total agreement with him. Matt brought this one to my attention. I've been looking at it through the week, and I've got Florida losing by 17 on this one.
Well, you guys know where I'm going. I'm going with the Utes.
Oh my gosh. If this game,
Gotta get silly. Gotta get silly.
if this game tells us anything, is that early polls are nonsense.
Yeah.
Yep.
For a top 10 team to be an underdog playing a team that's probably playing to have 5 or 4 losses this year, it doesn't make any sense. So I don't understand how they're favored, even though they're at home. That's not. They shouldn't be favored. That's just, I mean, maybe close, but not favored by that much. So it's insane.
Well, I will tell you. Here's what's shaping up. Okay, so we've talked about this before, but I didn't mention it on the show. What's shaping up is that Utah can take the Cincinnati route to the college football playoff by beating Florida. This is how they do it. So if they beat Florida, they can beat everybody else on their schedule, and they're in the college football playoff.
And you know
Guaranteed.
that's their motivation.
That's their motivation.
They'll lose a game somewhere where they shouldn't have lost. They'll lose to Cal or something for no freaking reason.
That's their motivation, is to beat everybody on their schedule this year so they get to the college football playoff. And I think they've got the team to make it happen. So we'll see.
Please
we'll
put
see.
Hunter Ivy's post up here real quick.
Utah. Screw Florida.
I want me some Hunter Ivy.
I love it.
Screw Florida and the mule they rode here on. I agree. Fantastic. I love it. I love it.
Keep the post.
I love it. Daddy said Utah by 3. Yeah.
I think it's going to be more than that. Daddy.
I think it's going to be more than that, too. I think it's going to be more than that. All right. So
Utah by 3 wives or how's
I know, right? Ain't that the truth? Yep. All right. The game that Kevin and I have been looking forward to. Other than the Georgia game. Oh, my screen didn't share. Here
Come on.
There we go.
Yes.
Mercer and Auburn.
Go Bears.
So we talked a little bit about this before we came on. So, John, I want you to tell me what your thoughts are on a Mercer and Auburn game.
God, I got to go with Auburn. You know, the War Eagle, all that. But Mercer's going to give them a scare. I really do. I bet you it's 17-14 at half. Auburn, but Auburn wins going away probably 45-21, something like that.
I got you. Matt?
I'm kind of with John there. I think it'll be like 17-10 at halftime, and they may skate up to get to about 35 or 34-24 or something maybe at the very end of it. But I mean, I would love for Mercer to win that game. You don't know how much I love for Mercer to win that game. My wife's a Mercer alum, but I just don't see it happening. It's not. They're the luckiest team in history of football beside Alabama. So they're the next luckiest team in history. From past history to show that how lucky they are. So they'll escape out with some kind of win.
Yeah, I want Mercer to win so very, very bad, and I think that John's right. The first half, I to be completely frank with you, from what I saw out of Mercer last week, it wouldn't surprise me at all to have Mercer leading at the halftime. But do they have the dudes? Do we have the depth to hang with Auburn? I'm not sure that Mercer does. So with that being said, I'm going to have to choose Auburn, but golly, I sure would love for it to be an upset. And if there's going to be an upset game that I'm going to choose, I would choose this one as my upset game to watch of the week.
By the way, JT Daniels is up 17-10 over Pitt in the third quarter.
Oh, wow. I thought it would be a lot more than that.
Wow.
I thought it'd be a lot more than that. All right, guys. Here we are.
No, you skipped me. I am picking Mercer.
Oh, my God.
With you guys. I am picking Mercer. You're not going to skip me. This is my upset. This is my upset game.
I did that on purpose.
No, you're not
Skipped
skipping
him.
me.
I skipped him on purpose.
This is the game that I have been telling y'all from the get-go. Mercer is going to upset Auburn. You know,
Yep.
it is
What's
going
the
to happen.
score? What's the score going to be?
It's going to be 31-27, the Bears.
All right. Well,
Wow.
Dad said 31-24, so y'all are right there together.
We need to give Hunter Ivy a quick pick.
Yeah, he says, I will die before I ever pick a Tiger. Mercer by 3. I like it. I like it. Good deal. Good deal. All right. On to our final game here, guys. And we got to get off because we are 10 minutes over. It's going to be 15 by the time we get done. All right.
Go.
Give me your prediction. Matt, go.
So you guys know my sense this whole year. I believe Oregon has a better defense than people think they do, and with Daniel Lanning at the helm, it's going to be even better than they were last year. They have 5 guys on that defense who are going to be drafted this next year, so we cannot sleep on that defense. That being said, they're not deep with that defense. They're not like we were at Georgia, where we can run in and out, players all game long so they don't get tired. I got 2 predictions. I know that's cheating, but I'm gonna go with it anyway. I got because it's just the scenarios, right? I mean, how ready? Because it's gonna be a sloppy game starting out, and so I'm just not sure how it's gonna pan out. You're not sure with turnovers. I think my gut goes. It could be 37-13 Georgia. That's if Georgia plays a clean game. If it's a sloppy game, I got Georgia 33-24.
Okay. John, what you think, buddy?
I still think we score 40 points, so I'm going 41, 17, and Bo Nix doesn't finish the game.
I love that.
I like that.
Yes, sir.
Bring it the sauce, baby.
Some
Bring
more
it the
Bo
sauce.
Nix experience, right?
I love it. I love it. There won't be another Bo Nix experience T-shirt. Let's just put it that way.
No.
All right, Kevin, what you got, buddy?
I think that Oregon will probably score a touchdown early in the first quarter, and our defense will get dialed in for the rest of the game. And I think they only kick 2 more field goals for the rest of the game. So I think it's going to be 38-13 Dogs on top.
I like it. I like it. Well, Ron Lemon, he says 28-14 Dogs. I like that too. So good deal. Good deal. All right. Moment of truth. I think it's going to be 31-13 Dogs. I think that Oregon finds a way to get it in the end zone, whether it be late. But I think they do find a way to get it in the end zone. 31-13. I have two field goals there to get them to 6, the additional 6 points. But I think it's going to be a great game, and I'm definitely looking forward to it.
I have something to say.
Go for it, buddy.
Y'all's preparation has been impeccable, and the way you have gone about presenting the content has been perfect. You've done an excellent job.
I appreciate that,
Thank
man.
you, sir.
We try.
Thank you, sir.
We
That
try.
means a lot coming from you.
We've already
Sure
paid,
does. What you say, Matt?
We've already paid you. You don't have to suck up to us.
I got an ideal coming. I'm hoping.
That's right.
Hey, great having you guys on. Let's see if we got any final comments. Hunter Ivy, here we go. 48-13.
I love Hunter. I got to
get.
I'm going to buy me some ivy from my yard.
I know, right?
Dad says
Cool.
Dogs by 24.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Hunter Ivy, good prediction there. I like all of you guys' predictions, and definitely been a good show. Hey guys, we're gonna be back on Wednesday night doing our recap of the Ducks and the Dogs.
Nice.
We'll be covering the next game, which is Sanford, and looking forward to everybody being on here. Any final thoughts, guys, before we jump off this thing?
I think Wednesday nights are going to be better for the show if you continue to do that, because Thursday night college football is on now, and I have a hard time getting other players on the show when it's Thursday night.
I got you. All right. Well, we'll work on that. We'll go to Wednesday. No big deal. No big deal. All right, guys. Let's send this thing off right. What do you say?
Do it. Go Dog.
Go Dogs.
Go Dog.
Mr. Akacki, the DGD, and
We
the
did a
four-finger
good
wonder.
job, didn't we?
Yes, sir.
Oh, what
Four-finger
a
wonder, Mr.
beginning.
Matt.
This is our opener. Our opener.
Yes, sir. We're going to go to the bins, shoot a few ducks, come home with some trophies Be ready to talk about this thing on Wednesday night. So y'all join us again, Middle Georgia Dog Pound, live right here on Facebook and on YouTube. Have a good night.
Night.